Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Niagara on this February the 1st, 2026. And our opening words today stem from my days in seminary. One of the things that occurs to me on a more regular basis than I am sometimes happy to hear is some people think I am somewhat long-winded. Can't say it's not so. And of course, my dean of education at the time was constantly telling me, and others like me, that short and simple could be more powerful than long and redundant. Yeah, well, you know, there's an old joke. What does it mean when a minister takes off his watch and looks at it before he preaches? The answer is, it means absolutely nothing. So, in the spirit of brevity, I will share with you a line I heard in a movie, and I'm not going to describe all of the circumstances and so forth, but I think it says it in a very short but in a very powerful way. A society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they know they will never sit in. Good people do things for other people. That's it. The end. And as we prepare to have our chalice lighting, if you'll turn in your bulletin, there you will find our words for chalice lighting. And if you'll please repeat with me. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Before we have our responsive reading today, we'd ask you to turn in your hymnal to hymn number 302. No. Okay.
Hymn number 1, because when we were blithering on the phone to each other, I was only looking at the index and the children of the human race. I thought it was something entirely different.
Patty?
And it wasn't.
Patty? What are we singing today?
So we're singing number 1 because it's Dr. T's favorite song.
What is it?
May nothing evil cross this door.
What's the number?
1.
Oh, forgive me. I'm.
But I'm already in, so it didn't work.
May nothing evil cross this door. Thank you. And thank you. That was... Our responsive reading this morning I have it here, not to worry. Yeah. Come on. Is number 474, unto the Church Universal. Unto the Church Universal, which is the depository of all ancient wisdom and the school of all modern thought. Which abjures all that separates and divides, and always magnifies all that unifies and brings peace. And which shall make of all sects, classes, nations, and races one global community. We pledge the allegiance of our hands and hearts. That was given to us by Keshab Chandra Sen. Okay. We come to that portion of our service now where we honor our joys and our sorrows. Pardon me a second if I could. I light this candle in deep sorrow as we have a moment of silence for two individuals that are all, unfortunately, now too well known to our great nation. Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Murdered by government caveat, and as a result as such become martyrs to freedom. And we hold them in silence as part of our ongoing commitment to resist all that unfortunately committed these heinous crimes, and not only to resist that, but to strive, as we just committed ourselves in our responsive reading, put together our hearts and our hands to unify ourselves and indeed our great nation toward a greater freedom, a greater unity, by a greater love. And I have one more. I don't want to call it a concern, but it is, and I'll share it with you because that doesn't make me feel good when the candle goes out automatically. It's not a good omen. Anyway, no. I always strive to tell you what's going on. We now come to that portion of our service, the offertory, where our beloved Patty will grace us with her extraordinary talent as we remind ourselves that it is through your generosity, our generosity, that it makes this ministry and the ministry of the Unitarian Universalist Association possible. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirring of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Sure you can. We are flexible, please. Please come. You come forth. Yeah, that's where you get the animals have that name, zoomies. Well, may Sophie rest in peace as she's crossed that rainbow bridge. And Jet make you as crazy as Sophie did. Anyway. Okay. You know, one of the things that I want to talk about today, and I'm going to bounce a little bit, if I may, not so much all over the place, but there are a number of things I need to share, and I think that bear in mind what's come forth already in the body of our service. It'll be hopefully equally appreciated. I too, as was stated earlier by Teresa and many other people that I've dealt with in the past couple of weeks in my own congregation and so forth, we are continually being devastated intellectually and, of course, emotionally as to what has occurred in Minnesota and in other parts of the country. I mentioned in the beginning of my address Renee Good and Alex Preddy, but there are at least 7 other people that have lost their lives as a result of this abomination that is masquerading as law and order. And it occurred to me, because again, I talked earlier, I joked about, when a minister looks at his watch and it means nothing before he starts preaching. But the events of the past few weeks have caused me not to be as inclined toward humor, but toward seriousness, of course. And one of the things that's occurred to me very often is when I was in seminary, we were constantly being admonished that we had to separate church and state, that we had to separate politics from religion. And I must tell you without any fear of contradiction that because we have a probably deeper understanding of world religion, the sects, the religious organizations or movements that exist throughout the world, and because of our openness of heart and mind, we have an understanding. And that understanding is that whatever you follow ritualistically, culturally, or what have you, that the ultimate message to any of the problems that confront the human family is that love and love alone is the absolute answer. And yet, we still see people engaging in hatred, judgment, critique, condemnation of those who don't believe as they do, but then they take it a step further. They take a quantum leap further, and we have the kind of atrocities and abominations that are occurring in our nation. When Renee Good was murdered, and when Alex Preddy was murdered, in my opinion and the opinion of other clerics, whether they be Episcopalian, Catholic, it became not any longer an issue in America of politics versus religion, or religion balanced out with politics. It became an issue of absolute morality, human decency, human dignity, human rights, and all of those things that are being ground into dust even as I speak my words. And so I committed myself not that long ago to not just walk in the footsteps of the Nazarene or the Buddha or so many others that have come forth and said, hey, love and love alone is the answer, but that because we, in our expression and understanding of that, understand that without justice, without human dignity, love is like a clanging bell, or basically a destroyed symbol. And so, in the spirit of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who stood up to the Nazis, who stood up to fascism, and also lost his life as a result, I too, as a clergyman, I too, as a citizen of this great nation, take upon the mantle of no longer separating religion and politics, but now understand that because it's become morality. You will see in all of our churches, I can't name one that I could name that it would not do this. We are going to be talking more like political activists. We're going to have the same lexicon and the same message like Dr. King did and Gandhi did and so many others, because we are fighting peacefully and legally, but fighting nonetheless for our rights, not just as citizens of this great nation, but beginning to understand we are fighting for our rights as citizens of this planet. Because this incredible abomination, this incredible travesty is beginning to spread across the world. And we need to uplift ourselves. We need to support each other in small groups and go out into the larger community to resist, again, peacefully, legally, but nonetheless resist, so that we can understand that there is power absolute power in love, but it is love that dominates us as we move toward unity. Unity. I had a lady come up to me not that long ago at the No More Kings March in our area of Fredonia, New York. And she was, you could tell she was very traditional, a theist, if you will, someone who really honored and had great faith in traditional, I'll call them Christian, Judeo-Christian values. And she said, "Pastor, when is all this going to stop? When is all this going to stop?" And the question proceeded, when is the Lord coming back and putting an end to all of this? My answer was a little flippant, but nonetheless it kept her, it put a little smile on her face and hopefully gave her a little hope. I said, well, if he's a coming, I think he's a little late. But I'll stand here and tell you that he said, the things that I do, ye shall do, and greater shall ye do, if ye have faith. So have faith in yourself, have faith in what we're striving to do, because the numbers need to grow. We need to become what we have not been for many generations. In this, I shouldn't say many generations, forgive me, I misspoke. In a number of generations in this country, we need to become responsible citizens. And what that means is, Thomas Jefferson said it, and so many other of our founding fathers, freedom through democracy must be vigilantly guarded and, like a good garden, tended to daily. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but the point is, we have for many, many years, and I've dealt with people like this throughout my entire young adulthood, and now as I'm maturing, like a fine bottle of wine, or an old piece of cheese. But anyway, as I'm maturing, I'm finding more and more of it is coming into my awareness. I'm becoming more cognizant of the fact that people, they want to eat their 3 squares a day. They want their car filled with gasoline. They want to drive here. They want to do that. They want entertainment. They want their jobs. They want all of these things. And yet we are constantly seeing around the world what I call hot spots, whether it's the Ukraine or the Congo or Somalia or what have you. We as a nation and as a world community have to get it together. This is the only planet we get. This is the only time we get. And if I may be so bold to some of those who may not accept this as a belief, but I am done waiting for the cavalry. We are who we've been waiting for all these years. We are the cavalry. It concerns me that Bishop A. Robert Hirschfield, I want you to remember his name. It's an extremely important thing. Bishop A. Robert Hirschfield, he represents the Episcopal Church in New Hampshire. And Bishop Hirschfield said to all of the priests under his care, under his guidance, under his direction, prepare your wills. Get your papers in order. You may be called upon to do things that may even end up costing your very life. Nobody wants to say that out loud too often. I know I don't. I don't want to believe that I've got to contemplate leaving my wife a widow in the event that things get unbelievably stupid. And yet I've already had conversations with my own congregants, not many, but a few, who have had that courage and said to me, well, what happens if I'm called and something happens to me? I said, I don't know. I really, really don't know. I do know this. I'm the son of immigrants. I'm also the son of Holocaust survivors. And I like to read about the Holocaust. And I don't like to read about it because it's just, quote, an interesting chapter in human history. It is categorically, if not the, then one of the most heinous chapters in human history. But there is a, if you wish, if you will, a positive aspect to the stories, to the history, if you will. And I encourage people to read about the individuals like Baumhofer and many, many others who decided enough was enough. And many, unfortunately, again, because of our philosophy of nonviolence and maintaining ourselves within the legal framework of the nation we live in, but many did not. Many went forth and laid their lives on the line for what they knew would be the future. World War II was not won by mere sentiment. It was won by, as Winston Churchill said, the blood, sweat, and tears of many, many people. The first, of course, were the Holocaust victims and all of their families, and the reverberations of that has not and should not be forgotten. That's why we say in Polish, nigdy więcej, never again. And here we are. Feels like it's like my father's telling me the stories of back in '39. The rise to power of individuals who are obviously inept and incompetent in their jobs, but in their humanity. Our own president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, Reverend Sophie, I've got Sophie on the brain, Sophia Betancourt, said, and this was a message, she says, ICE and DHS targeting our neighbors, all people of faith and conscience must resist the structures of fascism, of empire and tyranny. We will do everything in our power to end the desecration and to restore the soul of this nation. She was recently arrested, I believe it was in Minnesota, when she was protesting the activities of those who are obviously not just ignoring, but destroying the very spirit, the very soul of our Constitution. Now, it is frustrating as all get out. Many of us are not 25 years old. Many of us are not going to rise up and go out into the streets and engage in, I know March 28th, there's a No Kings March. I'll be there in my town. To those of you who are able and willing, I pray you also join your respective communities. But the only thing you can do beyond that is to maintain yourselves in the most spiritual way you possibly can. I believe spirituality is an energy. I believe that positivity and positive expectation is a power. If we take our devotion to love, to honesty, to equality, and to selfless service, and we strive to live our lives, as I like to call it, aspirationally, we will do more to support those who can go out, and whether it be protest or however they, again, peacefully and legally can rise up to stem the tide. It amazes me to this day how we have been manipulated, controlled, hoodwinked and lied to by literally handfuls of people. Bernie Sanders said something very powerful not that long ago, and it makes perfect sense. We outnumber them. Say it with me. We outnumber them. We do. We do. But you can't get nothing done till you know that. Till you know within yourself that no matter what, I'm going to protect my family. I'm going to protect my children. I'm going to protect my pets. I'm going to protect anybody and everybody that I can. I'm going to do as much good as I possibly can. I am not going to do anything illegal. I leave that to those who have hotter or cooler heads. I leave that open. I don't, I can't critique that. It's not my place. But we do anything and everything to live again aspirationally so that we can make the lives of those who have to go out there, who are motivated to go out there, who are putting themselves, as we have just talked about, in literal harm's way or knocking on death's door, that we can make their lives as easy as possible and to be encouraging and uplifting. We have to believe that we have, as was said earlier when Teresa read us our own Constitution, we've been here before. We beat them. We beat odds that were unbelievable. Abraham Lincoln beat odds that were absolutely unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to watch Burns and his documentary on Lincoln, the North should have lost. On many fronts, it should have lost. But there came people who would not accept loss as a viable solution, that knew that they knew that they knew that anything and everything within reason, within doability. Again, the key is not to cave into negativity. The key is not to cave into despair. And the key is to read things that are inspirational. Uplift yourselves as basically as you possibly can. I was sitting the other week and we were planning out on preaching at my church this coming Sunday next. And I found some amazing, I call them patriotic songs that would very much reflect the Unitarian Universalist perspective and would be uplifting, not a dirge, not a, oh yeah, we gotta love them, do we? Okay, let's go. No, very uplifting, very encouraging. In other words, we have to be motivated. And where does it start? Right here. Right here. Self-motivation. Self-motivation. Jesus of Nazareth was not murdered by the Romans because because of his theology. He was murdered by the Romans because of his philosophy, meaning justice, universal dignity, universal equality for the entire human family. A lot of people don't know that because a lot of the traditional church teachings have been marred by traditional churchmen who've wanted to control and manipulate us for hundreds of years. But as the church is being reconstructed, the Christian church, through the work of John Shelby Spong, I mentioned before, and there's another man by the name of, he goes previous to him, Borg, and Matthew Fox, who wrote Creation Spirituality. Those are being rewritten to reflect a more accurate view that what Jesus came forth to do is exactly what I have been talking about these, I want to say few minutes, but these few minutes. And that what I've been talking about again. Inspire yourself, motivate yourself, go deep within you and talk to that. If you call it God, call it God. Call it super conscious mind. I don't care what you call it. Go within and know that you are one with everything. We declare it in our Declaration of Principles, the interconnected web of life. When you do that, and then help somebody else who's having a rougher time. I've done that with not just my own congregation, but with other people, and going, you know what? This too, we quote an old Jewish axiom, to be said in good times and bad times to give us perspective. This too shall pass. I want to be on the right side of history when it passes. I want to be there to help reconstruct the devastation that has already and potentially will continue to occur. Nobody can do it alone, but if we understand that there is unity in our numbers, strength and power beyond our wildest imagination, in the totality of our resolve and our devotion, then I will tell you, this will be at one time, though it is not now, the land of the free, because of the brave. And I leave that with you with blessings. Thank you. That was the prelude to the sermon. No, please, anything but that, no. I have to ask you a question. It's absolutely self-serving, but I want you to be honest with me. My beautiful wife and I have been talking about it the last number of months, and I brought it to her attention due to some health concerns and her concerns for my health, and I said, you know, it might be time to consider, not right today, but in the foreseeable future, an early retirement. And she said, it's something you're going to have to consider. So what do you folks think? Should I consider? No, okay. All right. Okay. Excuse me. As long as I keep getting her lobster tails every once in a while, she'll be happy. That's all right. We had a lobster tail for New Year's. We did. I got a bargain. The guy in the truck said they weren't that old. Anyway, no, dear, it didn't come from a truck. It came from a fishmonger. Okay, let us now continue. Hang on just a second, if I would. What we're going to do, if I may be so bold, I would like us, of course, to do our closing hymn, which will be, is it 113?
113.
Okay.
Only do the first and last verse.
The first and last verse of 113. Afterward, I will do closing words. You know my habit. I do what is traditionally called a benediction or a closing prayer. And then, of course, we'll have the chalice extinguishing, and then we can do announcements, if that be acceptable. So let us turn in your hymnal to 113. As equal
the third verse.
Oh,
We better do the fifth verse. Where is our paradise?
in aspiration's sight, wherein we hope to see arise 10,000 years of right. Thank you. That's going to become a family favorite, isn't it? I hope. Infinite Spirit, sourceless source, that which by many is called God or consciousness. We have gathered together as brothers and sisters united. And though we may have very many theories, ideas, and opinions about the nature and even the so-called function of God in our lives, we know one thing. We have been taught by those who have infinitely more wisdom than perhaps we shall ever have, that in the final analysis, God is love and love alone. That if we choose to love ourselves and our neighbors as ourselves, we will not only prepare, perhaps, for a greater life that is to come, but that we would prepare to live our lives in what is equally and vitally important, the here and the now. That which has evaded us for many, many thousands of years. And we covenant with ourselves and with each other, and with all people of like mind, like heart, like spirit, that we shall strive to understand the interconnected web of life, that we shall strive to seek goodness wherever we can find it, to eliminate pain and suffering wherever we find it, to do so in such a spirit that we can consider heaven on earth as a reality and not just a pipe dream. This is our prayer as we go forth out into the world, committed unto the spirit of love. Amen. And if you will follow along with me as we extinguish this chalice, we extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we together are again. Thank you. And if we can now prepare for our announcements, if you will. The only announcement that I have is I will be with you, not next Sunday, but the following Sunday, which will be the day after Valentine's Day. I like milk chocolate. I like chocolate-covered cherries. No pressure, no pressure. And of course, we invite you after this service to stay with us for coffee hour, our hospitality. Teresa's our coffee hour hostess with the mostess, and she's down there right now, even as we speak, gathering her stuff to put a smile on all of our faces. And we want to thank Wally Lamb for being with us as our usher. And thank goodness that, Wally, you look great and that you seem to be on the mend. And if not, I will drag you to the mend every chance I get. Bless your soul, Wally, bless your soul. And other than that, if anyone has any announcements, please let them speak now. No? Oh my gosh, okay. Let us now have a wonderful postlude from Patty.
Hey, this is...
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
This is my friend Shadow. And I hope it will carry, because I've got to stand up to do this.
I got a song for you. Sunny days chasing the snow away on our way to where the coconuts soar. Can you tell me how to get to coconut street?